Okay, we are live. We'll hang out and wait for a few minutes.
All right. Have you seen the fact, like, all it can do when you pay for it? Like,
no.
Overlays, and you can play like videos that are native in StreamYard, not like Zoom when you record, it's your screen showing, it's like third party kind of like you. This is like native in it and all this stuff. I'm like, oh.
But no, I haven't seen it.
Doesn't integrate with Zoom, integrate with Zapier. It doesn't automate. So.
Oh, yeah. I started playing around a little bit with Zapier, and I got bogged down. Too many things, too many irons in the fire.
Well, I'm doing a course next week. I'm going to make myself do it next week. Just because it's always going to be busy, right? It's always going to be busy.
It is. So you just have to kind of pin yourself down and say, okay, it's time to go. Do it.
Yeah. So you got my 100 Facebook groups that allow promotion, right?
I did.
So I'm resending out 200, and at the same time, it's going to be register for my free course, like, basically how to market in Facebook groups.
Nice.
It's a mini workshop, one day thing, maybe an hour and a half. But
I love it.
But in there, you can buy a course, and it's going to be like $50. That is a simple automation to make. Because it's going to be all about, you've got to create systems around what you're doing in Facebook groups, even though.
Yes, you do. You have
to. So this is like an easy way to automate part of that. So it's like clockwork. You're not relying on the algorithm to show you the right things. You're not relying on remembering when you wanted to post what. It just shows up in your email. Like, today you do this, this, and this. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I love that.
And because I find that I have certain groups that I like, but they never show up in my feed, and I always forget about them.
Yep, I do the same. Because I'm members of a million different groups. Okay, so guys, hi. We have 3 people on at this point. At least that's what I see. Can you get a high end so we can see who's here? And this is Lisa Kempton. Yay! I'm so glad. She filled in for us today. We had a cancellation. And so she's filling in at the very last minute, which is wonderful because she was already on my list of go-gets for interviews. So she just jumped right in. Okay, Facebook user, hi guys. Who's that? Lisa, tell us what you do.
So I help businesses look at their everyday processes, all of the things they're doing, and put some of those on automation, create automations around them so that a lot of those things that they do, because we as entrepreneurs and women try to do all the things, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm able to help people do is automate some of these things so they don't even have to think about it. It just happens automatically as part of their processes. And so they basically can put some of their tasks on autopilot. And I tell basically, if you can click it, you probably can automate it. So
I love it. Yeah, I definitely need you now that I'm starting to settle in a little bit and get a little more focused with what I got going. Okay, so yay. Hi, Francesca, and hi. This is the only thing I can't stand about StreamYard.
Yeah,
it's the fact that we can't see who's commenting. But hey, hi. Okay, so how did you get started doing what you're doing?
So I was helping out some friends of mine who have a business, and in their business, they work with children. They work with transporting children to and from school. And so they had like every documentation that you would ever need, they had to get for anytime they hired someone. So, they had to have background checks. They had to have driving certificates. They had to have all these different trainings that were completed before people started, all the things. But they were always super busy because they had 40 different employees, and it was a kind of a high turnover position. And so they were really, really poor at tracking where everyone was in this process of getting things in. And, they would make sure about the important things, but a lot of the little stuff would fall by the wayside. So I was like, all right, we got to figure this out. And, people are driving, so they're not in front of their computers to be able to do things. So I came up with a system with them to have a text-based kind of like checklist type of system going on. And I was using some software, and they're like, it integrates with Zapier. And I was like, what's Zapier? And so I go and figure out that. And I just it's like love at first sight. Like, I'm like, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know that you could automate so many things in your life. And it just makes me happy when I have something that I don't enjoy doing or someone else doesn't enjoy doing, and I can figure out a way to make it happen automatically. And it's, not only off their plate or my plate, it's off our minds, which is such a relief because we try and hold so much in there.
We do. Yeah, I know. Honestly, I've gotten so bad that I will start doing something, and this is probably ADD kicking in too. But I'll start doing something, and then I'll go on to something else, and then I'll go on to something else, and then all of a sudden I'll realize I never finished the first thing. And yeah, I've got way too many different kinds of things going on.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I found is there would be things I loved doing, right? And I would always prioritize the things I loved doing, and the things that I felt like I should be doing, right? Those always got pushed back. Oh, I should be doing this. It would be good for my business if I did this, but I don't enjoy doing it. So I would, it would get shoved to the background. Podcasting is a huge example of this. Like, I had the most amazing guests. I had such a great time podcasting and interviewing people and things like that for my podcast. But then I had all this production work in the background that just weighed on me. And, it was all the shoulds. I should be posting on Instagram and Twitter and I should be making blog posts out of it. And I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And all these shoulds weighed on me to the point where I just almost was paralyzed. Yeah. So I decided I'm going to automate this. And I didn't know if I could. I'd never heard of anyone automating a podcast before. And so I just took each step of it, and some of it I knew ahead of time I could automate. Others I was like, I wonder if, and that's all it takes is I wonder if. And typically you can find some aspect of it where you are going to be able to automate either a reminder that goes out or some part of it that makes it easier for you. And I didn't even know I'd be able to do this, but I can now I've automated almost what was taking me 2 or 3 hours per episode to do is now down to about 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. And how long are the episodes?
So the episodes are anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm not talking the actual interview time, but
Gotcha.
pre and post production part of it. So,
wow. Okay. So how long have you been doing this?
The automation or the podcasting or both?
The automation. When did you start your business?
Both of them early this year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And so since we're a startup community, we always want to know challenges people face and how they overcame them. What was your biggest challenge when you got started, and how did you overcome it?
So biggest challenge is probably figuring out where I wanted to go with it. Because there's always this, back in January when I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm just going to do it. I thought what I would be doing is going into businesses and, basically at first volunteering to kind of come in and create systems and automate them, and then using that to go to different businesses and sell my services. Well, then COVID hits. So it's not going to work.
There's no going into businesses anymore, right?
No, exactly. And so what I wanted long-term was to be a coach and to teach people and to create courses around automation so that, because, I'm one person and it takes a long time to automate a big process. It really does. And so it can be quite expensive for someone who wants my like undivided attention to come in and automate all of their things, right? So it's like, but there's so many things that, yeah, you might do it a tweak here, a tweak there, but the process is pretty much the same. You just personalize your part of it. Yeah. But the basics for it are the same. So the goal was in the future to have a podcast and to do the course kind of behind the scenes type of thing. And now I've had to kind of flip that, where I started the podcast because it's like, well, what am I going to do with my time? I don't know. I'll start interviewing. I'll start interviewing businesses. Why not? And then, and now I'm creating courses to kind of get the word out there, because I'm finding that people, they know they need to automate. They know they need to save time. They don't know how, and they're scared to try. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you step-by-step exact instructions. And not just that, I'm going to give you my automation. So all you have to do is plug in your stuff where I have my stuff, and then it's going to be good to go. But I'll even show you how to manipulate it so that you can do it your way.
That is awesome.
Yeah, because then people can be like, all right, well, I don't need this part of it, so I can just delete that. But I do want to add in a second one of, text message follow-up or something like that. They have the foundation all there, so all they have to do is duplicate parts of it or move them around or things like that. So it becomes a whole lot less scary. And especially because I'm in the background, like, hey, if you need help, let me know.
Exactly, yes.
But, I think that once people really start to just dive in, to feel a little comfortable, understand the terminology behind it, because that's almost like learning a new language. But not a difficult language. Like I say, it's like learning like Pig Latin, right? You understand just a little bit of it because it's close enough, but like you have to practice with it to really hear it and to know, okay, in this situation, this means this, and in this situation, it means this type of thing.
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. Yeah, no, I need to see all that. Yes. Yeah, so you're actually, I know, I've talked to you before. You'd think I would have already like gone, please help me. Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of it. Like I could sit down and figure it all out.
But it takes time.
Yeah, I just don't have the time. I mean,
and I love it. And like literally I can spend, my husband thinks I'm insane because I can spend all day long automating something. Like, and I'm here in front of the computer. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's try it this. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, it's almost there though. Like, and then, this is the big hint with automation is you get it to work inside Zapier and you think it's good to go. No. Oftentimes, like, life is just different. So I always tell people like, like trigger it, like all this time, have people come in, beta it for 10 people type of thing. So they can come in. So you see all the variations that end up happening with it. I mean, it can be as simple as someone puts 2 spaces in there instead of 1. And suddenly your automation doesn't know what to do with that type of thing. Like, I don't want to make it sound like it's that precarious because it's not. But sometimes, like if you have, like, you can break things up by spaces. Yeah. So it looks for a space to break something up. I use this like for my podcast. I name it "You're Going to Be Coming On." So it'll be a Deanna Selby podcast interview, right? And then all of them have that first name, last name, that type of thing. So the first thing I do is go in and break that up. So each one is its own line within Zapier. So then I go search for you in my spreadsheet and things like that and bring out in all the information you've given me already because I have your name. And so
wow.
It's fun. I get technical and people go, whoa, you're blowing my mind. I don't know.
You are my guardian angel, Les. That's amazing. Francesca had said, OMG, this is me paralyzed by all the things I should be doing and really don't have the time to do.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody.
Especially, I think we as women feel like we should do it all. We feel like, like if we can do it, we should do it. And it doesn't work that way. Like our time is limited and we are experts in certain things, right? Mm-hmm. Like we are, I mean, you get this with your business, with bookkeeping and things like that. Most people out there could spend the time and learn how to do simple bookkeeping, right?
Absolutely, yep.
But is that the best use of their time?
Nope.
And it's the same thing with automation. Like, you know, most people can go in and do the exact same thing I did of figure it out. It's not brain surgery. It's not, I mean, like, I know I have a little bit more of a like logical brain. So like things, you know, it comes probably a little quicker to me than some people. I talk to other people and they're just like,
I know.
But I'm like, really, it's not that hard. You just, again, need to learn the language. Once you learn the language of it, then you know what it's asking you. And the other thing is Zapier, which is, there's a lot of things out there you can use to automate, but Zapier is the most user-friendly by far. So it's a great jumping off place. And that's where it integrates with the most amount of stuff. So
yeah, I have noticed it does integrate with them. Because I just set up a free account.
Yeah.
I haven't really done anything with it, but I knew because I'm like, okay, I see Zapier there. I see Zapier there. I think I had heard you mention Zapier, and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to figure out what this is. Yeah, it's still sitting there, and I've done nothing.
And you lost your 30 days free trial. And so you still have a free account, but that free account is going to be so super limited. Zapier is a little bit shady because unless you have I try and make super easy automations for people. And unless it's like filling out a form and that causes an email to send, like you have to do some formatting, you have to do some delays, some different things within the Zapier, capabilities to really make it work for you. And all of those make it so you have to have a paid account. So they're a little bit shady in that because you really I tell people, they make it sound like you can have a free account, but they also give you 30 days to really see all the possibilities. And then by the time those 30 days are over, there's no way. No way.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know how much it's going to cost me when I actually start digging. How much is it?
I think it's about 25.
Okay. Well, that's
so it's not horrible. But that's only up to 20 zaps.
Oh. How many do you use, Lisa?
How many do I have?
Yes, I'm curious.
Well, they're not all on because I play around and then I was like, ooh, okay, I'm going to keep this for later, but I'm not doing anything with it right now. But I know I have probably over 100 that I've created.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
But I'm on the next one up that has unlimited amount of zaps, but it's like $60 a month.
I'm like, when that's what you do and you love it so much, it's okay. Yeah. Okay, so can you give us, and you've already kind of given us some tips, but is there anything else you were wanting to share in the tip arena?
So with Zapier, they're really, really user friendly. If you go to their main page, they're going to say, the first thing it's going to say is here's, lists basically 2 programs that you already use. So if you'd be like, I use Google Suites or, Google Sheets is the best one for Zapier. So I use Google Sheets and I use MailChimp. So then it's just going to give you 10 different automations that are already plug and play type of thing for those 2 services. Wow. Okay. So you can go and start playing really easily to learn that language because they're going to say, okay, we have this automation pre-planned. All you have to do is hook, the same sort of thing what I'm going to do with my courses is share the actual automations I've already done. So all the settings and everything are already there. And all you have to do is hook up your stuff to it. And then you can see how it works. So, play with it. Once you start playing with it, you really will feel a lot more comfortable with it. It's not as hard as people think it's going to be, but then in some ways it's harder because, like I said, until you start playing with it, you just don't know what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Different circumstances, they're you're like, okay, I get that there's an error, but I don't understand why.
Yeah.
And also, they are really good if you just go contact the help department. They'll explain.
Do they have the chat?
They do. They have a chat. They have a forum area where people go on, and most of the time my answers are right there in the forum. But if not, then I just emailed Zapier. I'm like, okay, here's my Zap. It's broken. I don't know why. And they're like, you used the wrong URL. And so like I had this one that was telling me that Zapier had used all of their Google. So with every time someone pings Google from Zapier, like there's a limited amount of times that can happen, but it's a huge number. And it was telling me that number had been reached. And it was just because like it didn't know what to do with the automation. And so but I was like, I don't even understand. And they're like, we don't understand either. How did you do that? This is the right way to do it. So
gotcha. Okay. You guys have questions? I know you have to have questions because this is an area that all of us drown in. And I think Lisa would be amazing to have today. So somebody pop us a question over there. What's something that you are wanting to automate that you don't even know where to begin? So I want to hear what you have to say. Let me think about my situation, see if I can come up with a thing. I mean, I know I've got tons. It's a matter of which one do I want.
So most businesses out there, they start with either their lead, follow-up, or their customer journey, right? Those are the two things that every business needs. And most of them are saying, oh, I need to do more with this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do enough.
Right. Yeah.
And so, if you have a drip sequence with an email, that's a great start, right? Like, but that's really hands off. And if you can start integrating other things within both aspects of it, I have an example where, I was talking with someone and, she worked for a network marketing company. And so she's like, well, I just get them on the website and then they order it. And then that's it. That's all I do. I'm like, okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right. So are you communicating to them like typically how this process works? No, I'm not doing that. Okay. Are you following up with them that they got the order? No, I'm not doing that. Okay. Are you checking in with them later to make sure that, just to kind of continue with the sales process? Like, yeah, I try and check back in 3 months. Okay. What are you doing to do that? I try and remember,
oh no,
it's like, no, that's not a customer journey. That's a customer idea. That's
remember that girl that ordered that vegetable peeler?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I need to contact her, make sure she's doing it.
And then, if you only rely on email, people don't connect through email, right? It's amazing how if you throw a text message in there or maybe a video email or a video, like a quick video on your phone or something like that, or you could do things, you get down in the weeds with this. There's ways to automate your email. So you are holding a sign and it says their name and you think it looks like that you've created this video that's personalized to them. But no, it's like a process. It's anyway, there's a whole bunch of things you should do. But even I've had people who are like, I want to send thank you note. I want to handwrite a thank you note. I'm like, okay, so when you go to do a thank you note, what do you do? I try and remember who, I go and look who's gotten, orders in the past week or so. And then, I'm like, okay, so what you need to do is you need to set up as part of your process is typically when do things come in for people? Okay, 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks or after 1 week before they get it or however you want to do it, you need to automate that you get a reminder with their address already, right there. And
find it
better to say what you want to say or write the thank you notes ahead of time. So if you always say one of 3 things, just write a whole bunch of thank you notes in those 3 things, and you could leave space for what they get or whatever. But just pre-write all of that. Then, and, have your return address on all of the envelopes ahead of time, even stamp them ahead of time, that type of thing. So that when that reminder comes up, it's literally bang, bang, add their address, lick it, done type of thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it will be like, oh, I need to get to that. But I have to go figure out what their address is. Oh, but I need to do that. And this way you can actually you can let a couple days pile up, pull out your things, whip them out, get them done, and be done with it. So
yeah. Awesome. Okay. So somebody says, could you say more about how you use your podcast and courses in tandem?
So with my podcast is any business out there that helps other businesses solve a problem, I bring them on to talk about how they help businesses. And I try and get really, really specific onto one thing. So I just did one with a lawyer and we talked trademarking and it was amazing. It was such a great interview. I didn't know this and I'd never heard it before, but if you lose your business name because someone else trademarks it, even if you have that URL, you can lose your URL, be forced to give it up because someone else has legal right to it now, basically.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So I was all this stuff about trademarking. And I'm like, crap, I have to trademark 10 things now and stuff. Luckily, what I do is pretty unique. She wasn't too worried. She's like, you don't have to worry too much about it. But, it's something to think about. You don't want to lose. Anyway, I'm going off in the weeds. Sorry. But so with my podcast, I just use that as a vehicle to kind of get out there, help businesses talk, and to kind of I'll interject things about automation within it or my business or things like that. But it's not so much about automation because I don't think people are going to go and search podcast on automation. But if I have episodes towards automation or things like that, or it says Lisa Kempton, automation expert, it's going to come up.
Right.
So, but what I do is, with my podcast, I automate parts of that. So I spend a whole lot less time doing it. And then I'm going to create a course teaching other people how to do that. So it's not I'm not podcasting on my courses other than mentioning them. But yeah, I don't know if that was the question, but that's kind of what I understood it to be.
Yeah. Whoever asked that, if you need more detail, just pop it back in the comments. Hi, good morning, Pam. Okay. How can I automate for emails after the customers receive? How can I automate emails after the customers receive their orders?
Okay. So there is an amazing thing called email Parser. And what that does is if you get an email that comes from is always, so it's an automated email. It always comes with the exact same format. You can pull information out of that and use it to create automations. So it is so amazing because of this, because every organization out there, they have email receipts or email information that comes through. But email is a really horrible method for automating because it's just text, right? It's just text. Right. So this helps you to, if you received an email saying so-and-so purchased this on this date, and then if you get another, all of that can be funneled into a spreadsheet. And then let's say you get another one order fulfilled, should arrive at this date, or this is the tracking number, or however your organization does that. All of that can be pulled again. You can find that person in the original spreadsheet and then pull more information into it. And then all of that can be used to trigger. So it might be that you automatically set up a calendar date for when they should receive it. And then that triggers different things to happen. It could be that as soon as you get that email saying that it's shipped, you have an automatic text message that goes out that says, hey, I saw your stuff shipped. I'm super excited for you. Make sure that if you have any questions at all, you can turn to me, how exactly to use that foundation, or how exactly to, different recipes that work with that thing, or, I want you to love the taste of this shake, tell me what you think right away, because I want to know, type of thing, and just the more you can engage with people, especially in I love the text message realm because it seems really personal. Mm-hmm. You took the time to text me.
It can.
But if you treat it like an email, then it doesn't.
Yeah, right.
So it needs to be like the personal part of it through text messaging and the more like informational part of it through email. And it could just be like, hey girl, I just emailed you some information. I want to make sure you got it. Let me know if you didn't. And I'll give you a call or something like that. Like, it could be stuff.
So so I want to make sure I understand. So with the email parser, if you set up to receive the same emails that your customers receive, so they'll see say I'll receive an email on that vegetable peeler that I ordered, and it says it's arrived. So vegetable peeler would be somewhere in that email, and that
it might not. So in the original email, it's probably going to say, here's the order number, or here's the, whatever. And it just depends on how your organization works, right? If your organization lists all of what is in it, in that email, then you're going to be able to pull that information and do it. You might have to go in and manually enter some information. It just depends on how things integrate with it. The other thing is then you get into like, there's always coding ways to grab information. So there's things called, why can't I remember this word?
Because you want to.
Because I want to, yeah. There's things called, scrapers, right? Web page scrapers, right? So you could probably set up a scraper that would pull the information off your actual account within your organization. Most places like, MLM companies, or even, they're pretty proprietary. They don't want to integrate with something like Zapier. It's just if they understood how much more productive their employees would be, they would totally do it, but they don't. And I don't think they realize that they can actually limit who has access to their API, which is the kind of the behind the scenes thing that they use to set up to integrate with Zapier. So I think that if they realized it, a lot of these companies would start just allowing only their employees to have access to their Zapier accounts because they could do so much with it, but they don't. So you can use like web scrapers to pull that information. That if it's visible on the screen, you can set up that. And so, and you can set up recipes. So every time you go back, it does the same thing again. That gets a little bit more intense into it. There's like levels of automation. And, I try and do like the really super stuff, like surface stuff, but I'll show people like there are some Word to HTML converters online that are free. So you set up the Word page of how you want it to look and put it right into that HTML and put it into that converter, and it's going to pull it. It's going to give you the exact code to set that. So you can throw that into your automation and then have things linked and that's how I do blog posts and stuff like that is, like I have a format all set up, and then it gets a little bit more.
There's a lot. It sounds like there's a lot to it. Yeah. So as a simple answer to that question of how do I automate for emails after the customer receive their orders, is there like a simple just
email parser?
Email parser. Okay. Look up email parser.
And Zapier has a native one, but it's kind of crappy. So you end up spending some money if you want to start using. Well, there are email parsers that let you have a few a month for free, but then it gets expensive.
Okay. Well, I'm going to look that up. I want to see what that's all about. All right. Anybody have any other questions? We are pushing 30 minutes. No, we have pushed 30 minutes. Yeah. Yay, look at that. Then what we do after the end, you've probably seen this because I think you're in the group, right? Is we'll just leave the live stream will be there. People can watch the replay. If anybody has any questions, they can post questions in the comments, and I'll try to monitor just in case you miss it.
Yeah.
But just tag Lisa if you have a question, and I'm sure she'd be happy to give you guys some answers. And also, can you do us a favor and put the information in whatever course you're doing next week or whatever?
Yeah. Well, I'll just put my 100 So I have a freebie that's 100 Facebook groups that allow promotion. If you get that, then you're going to be kind of in the know about the Facebook group and or the Facebook course and all of that. So
Okay, awesome.
So I'll put that in there.
Okay, well, we're very grateful for you filling in today. It was perfect. It was awesome. And you guys pop any questions in the comments, and I'm sure she'll get back to you.
Definitely.
Lisa, we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Thanks, love.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.